So there's more stuff per person than at any time in history, but the same amount of gold, and competing currencies and other assets have diluted gold's purchasing power. Today there's 200 times more wealth stored in these competing assets than there is in gold, and if only 10% of that wealth comes chasing gold, its price will rise 20-fold. And in the crisis I see coming, it's going to be a lot more than just 10%. The world is now in uncharted territory. Budget deficits, trade deficits, and government debt have ballooned to lethal levels. Real estate, stocks, and bonds are all in bubbles, and the credit, debt, and derivatives bubbles threaten to take down the world economy. It took years to create these bubbles, but it will only take days or weeks for them to burst, and all bubbles eventually burst. In the inevitable crash and currency crisis that are bearing down on us, most trusted investments will probably evaporate while gold and silver are pushed into hyperbubbles. Because when it comes to greed and fear, fear is by far the more powerful emotion, and in a crisis, fear is what drives investors. Today there are 10 times the people, each with 10 times the currency, and somewhere between 10 and 1,000 times the number of people with an investor mindset than in the last great gold and silver rush. That's somewhere between 1,000 and 100,000 times more currency that will come chasing gold and silver this time around. For the very first time in history, all the world's currencies are fiat, and fiat currencies have always failed. Couple that with the facts that every country on the planet is creating currency on a suicidal scale never before imagined, that every 30 to 40 years the world has an entirely new monetary system, that we are overdue for the transition to a new monetary system right now, and you now have the recipe for a cataclysmic economic event that will be the greatest wealth transfer in history. It can either impoverish you, or it can enrich you beyond your wildest dreams. Taken separately, any one of these reasons is a compelling case for gold and silver. But if you look at them all together, and you take into account that for the very first time this gold and silver rush is going to be global, you realize that these reasons aren't just additive, but they multiply upon one another.